A culpable homicide case has been opened following that accident near Philadelphia yesterday, the Occultdale Road, where a truck overturned. Three farm workers were killed in that accident. But there were 67 people on the back of an open truck. These were farm workers being transported to a place of work. Some reports, and Clarence Ford spoke to a farm worker rights activist, Billy Claassen. Yes, police are still investigating, but Billy told Clarence that the driver was taking a corner. There was some animal, I think it was a bird that Billy described, and the driver tried to take evasive action, and the truck overturned. That's regardless. The point is 67 people. There were 70 people on the back of an open truck being transported to work. Dr. Ivan Meyer is the Western Cape Agriculture MEC. It's not the first time that we've had incidents of this nature. I definitely hope it's the last time, because periodically there are situations, there are stories of workers being transported on open trucks involved in accidents, and we have the same conversation every few months and years. Ivan, thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. Absolutely. That's why yesterday I went to the accident scene. What has happened there is absolutely not acceptable, and therefore I've asked the Minister of Mobility for a full investigation as to what has happened. An open truck transporting agri-workers is completely unacceptable. As you put it, every year we talk about this matter. I have done some roadblocks in the Dorans. I've seen what has happened there, and this is completely unacceptable because agri-workers requires dignity, and their well-being is for me particularly important. When I went to the scene, I saw some guinea fowls lying there, but the point is overloading of trucks, overloading open transportation of agri-workers is absolutely not on. And I want a full investigation so that we can take the necessary steps. But I've also asked the traffic management in the Western Cape to be on the lookout for trucks, because I do not want any further deaths on our roads, particularly agri-workers. They must be stopped before these things happen, and there must be heavy penalties for such transportation of agri-workers.
I'm just looking at some of the dates. 2007, 10 farm workers died in a bus accident near Piketberg. In that same year, 50 farm workers were injured when a truck overturned on the N1 in the Dorings in the Boerland. In 2021, 70 workers injured in Klapmans when the truck they were on crashed. In the same month, 1 worker killed and 37 workers injured in the Dorings. In September 2021, a truck carrying 57 workers crashed, killing 2. That was between Grabouw and Verliesdorp. Why don't we simply not just call for a complete ban on the transportation of workers on open-topped vehicles?
Well, I have been visiting some of the farms, particularly in the Elgin region, and I looked at dignified transportation of farm workers. I've also visited farms in the Dorans, and I have seen that there are many farmers that make provision for dignified transportation. But I've also looked at the current legislation in this particular regard, and there is a gap in the legislation. I brought it under the attention of the minister, and particularly the national minister. This is a legislative requirement that needs to change to ban this, and this is a national legislation. We have written to the national minister, so I fully agree. This is something that we must give top priority. I've been to many funerals. I've been to Toes River. I do not want to see any more deaths on our roads as a result of this. So I fully agree, and that's why I have asked the Minister of Mobility, particularly the transport management and traffic management, to be on the lookout and stop every single truck that transport farm workers openly. But it's not only farm workers. Sometimes it is construction workers. But my point is, I'm the Minister of Agriculture, and I must look after our farm workers.
You're very right. And this is a conversation that should happen in tandem with the Minister or the MEC of Mobility. We can also talk about bakkies. workers being transported on the back of bakkies. It is a very South African phenomenon, particularly in city traffic. But if there is a pile-up on the N1 or the N2 or some major highway with bakkies, 6, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the back of the bakkie, that is a risk to those workers' lives, whether they are agricultural workers or whether they are construction workers.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm now calling on all the citizens in the Western Cape who see any of such trucks on our roads to please take a photo and the photo of the incident that they see, and please send it to us, because we would very much like to immediately act on those matters before something happens, because it's always too late when the accident has happened. So I call on all the citizens in the Western Cape, whenever you see, because traffic cops cannot be everywhere, but when you see any incident of transportation of people on an open bus, open truck, where you see that there's a potential risk of an accident, please bring it under our attention, take a photo and send it to us, and we will act immediately, because this is simply unacceptable.
Ivan, who's the owner of the vehicle involved in yesterday's accident in Philadelphia?
Yeah, there is a company that was there, but I certainly, because we want to respect the rule of law, there is a company that we're currently investigating. When I was on the scene, I saw that there was the truck went up a hill, a short hill, and there were 4, 5 guinea fowls, because I've never seen. Is
it a farming company or is it a labor broking company?
No, that I still have to establish, because I do not want to give factual incorrect information.
Appreciate your time, Dr. Ivan Meyer, Western Cape MEC for Agriculture.